Back for Blood. Let's talk about it. So, Back for Blood was released in October of 2021, and as it's been out for a couple of years, well, about a year more so, because we're not that far into 2023 yet. But as it's been out for a while now, it has had some major updates and some improvements on the game itself. When the game originally released and I first played it, like not too long after it started, I only remember there being 3 acts, but I do know currently there's, I believe, 6 acts, and I've heard of a 7th act being added to the game at some point in 2023, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not, as sometimes these are just rumors. But anyways, this game is what I would describe like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield type zombie game. The reason I say that is because, unlike most zombie games I've played or heard of, it's not all about slaying zombies. The whole purpose of this game is that it's got a campaign, you're trying to figure it out, you learn about society during the time that the game's taking place, issues that have been going on, you're given a connection to your characters and the world around you through the way the story is told, a bunch of stuff like that. And while, yes, you do need to slay the zombies, it is your choice how you go about it. You can be sneaky and you can hide and stay away from the zombies and just kind of complete the story in some missions. Other missions, you can cause as big of chaos and destruction as you want and blow everything up. So there's just a lot of options on how you can play this. However, like I said, it does play out more like a Battlefield or a Call of Duty game because there is actually really, truly a story here. Now, I know Zombie Army games also have a story, but they're more like Sniper Elite. Still good games, but Back for Blood follows more of that traditional story. So in Back for Blood, you play as one of these cleaners, survivors of a massive accident, which they kind of suggest is this basically disease or bacteria that was brought to Earth through an extraterrestrial source. They don't actually tell you how it happened per se, at least not in my playthrough. Now, as you play through, you do learn that a lot of human error in trying to understand this disease and also trying to stop it from spreading did cause further mutations and actually caused it to spread more rapidly and be much more devastating than it would have been on its own if it wasn't for human intervention. So there's a bunch of stuff like that where you're going through like military bases, finding out things that have been happening, picking up scientific research where it's been left off, running specimen containers, and continuing to trying to help the survivors understand what happened and how to fix it from here. Now, as you play through, you also learn of other cleaner cells and that they've been trying to go in and stop these zombies essentially. And as you play through, you also learn and understand that these zombies aren't really zombies. They're humans who've been infected with this bacteria, causing them to mutate into something otherworldly. Now, they do look like zombies, obviously. That is a gist of the way to say it, but depending on how you define a zombie, they wouldn't really be considered zombies. Anyways, this game plays through really well. It's a lot of fun to play. There's a bunch of different difficulty settings you can play through and on, from easy to extremely hard. And depending on how you play it, changes the length of the game and some of the things like that. I personally enjoy playing it at all of these levels. I've played it through at basically all of the difficulty levels, and I enjoy the game. But it really does just depend on how you want to play it. The game length is about 8 hours, depending on how much you play, and I know there have been a couple of acts added, so it might change the length of time that it takes to play it, but I've heard that on average it takes between 6 to 8 hours to do a playthrough. Now, personally, I feel like it takes longer than that because I've played with some of my buddies and we've done run-throughs and stuff like that using different characters, different skill sets, different tactics, from easy to hard to sneaky to just devastating firepower. So it really does change depending on what you do. Replayability, it is a lot of fun to go back through. Some of the things in the game are randomized, while most of them are not. But playing with all these different characters, it does present a lot of different options and abilities, as there are 12 different cleaners that you can play through the campaign with. Now, there is some multiplayer obviously, but there's not a lot outside of the campaign. There is a survival mode against hordes and stuff like that, so there is some there. But I personally have not enjoyed playing those modes, so I really haven't. I mostly just play the campaign with my friends, or there's a little bit of options where you can take over and play as these zombies, which are called the Ridden, by the way. And you can play as these ridden creatures and fight your teammate, or fight your friends, your buddies, whatever. It is enjoyable. It's a lot of fun to play, and for it only having been out for like a year and a half or so, it is pretty well kept up to date. I haven't really had any issues with it, not really any glitches or anything like that. When I first played through the game, it wasn't as enjoyable, but when I played through it again like a couple months ago with my friends, it was pretty fun, and I enjoyed it a lot more now than I did then. So I think it's definitely a game worth playing, and I would really recommend it to most people. For the price it is, I think last time I looked it was about 25 or 30 bucks. It's pretty good for that price. I personally got it for free through Game Pass, which I really enjoy using Game Pass because I get so many games for free. But the game's just enjoyable to play through. As far as graphic wise goes, this game looks great. It's a lot of fun to play that way. Now, I've played it on both PC and on Xbox, and I gotta say, playing it on a computer, it looks significantly better and sounds significantly better than playing it on a console. There's a lot of sound and details, and there's a lot of image sharpening and of like background things that are missed in graphics when you play on Xbox versus when you play on PC. So I do think it's a downside to play it on a console, in my experience, but it is still a lot of fun to play either way. So if I were you, I would go ahead and give it a check and play it because it is a lot of fun.